And now we have a Chris Brown story. This is an interesting one. So Chris Brown is currently on tour, and a part of Chris Brown's tour is he offers fans an opportunity for a meet and greet.
Nice.
Now, Chris Brown's meet and greets are um, they're $1,000 a person or $1,500 a person. There's something like that. Um, I saw the amount in a previous article, but I don't remember. But there's an actual dollar figure that's attached to it. It's either $1,000 or $1,500. But if you pay this amount of money, you get the ability to be a part of a meet and greet with Chris Brown after the show, where you get you get a picture with him. Y'all get to have a short little conversation. It's a meet and greet. We all know what a meet and greet is. But apparently, this particular story involving a meet and greet with Chris Brown went viral because a guy ended his relationship with a girl who paid for a meet and greet with Chris Brown because he felt as though the photos involving her and Chris Brown were a little too close for comfort. He was uncomfortable with how these things looked. And so in the wake of her having a meet and greet with Chris Breezy, he said, "You know what? We're done. Our relationship is over. I don't like the way you did that meet and greet with Chris Brown." So we got Chris Brown doing an unintentional Usher impression here. So this says Chris Brown fan claims a viral meet and greet photo caused her boyfriend to break up with her. Chris Brown, whether you like it or not, has been a heartthrob throughout his career. Even with the Rihanna fiasco, there are still some female fans that obsess over him. He does have a lot of attractive qualities and remains to be one of the biggest names in music. It is pretty clear that he is not going anywhere anytime soon. We say all of this because a recent image has gone viral and was supposedly the nail in the coffin for a former couple. According to the Neighborhood Talk, a female Chris Brown fan nabbed a Columbus, Ohio meet and greet photo with the singer. After showing it to her boyfriend at the time, their relationship lasted just another 7 days. Literally, after my photo went viral, my boyfriend broke up with me about a week later after arguing because he felt Chris was too close to me, she said. While it was most likely a tough pill to swallow for the woman, she would have taken that opportunity to meet Breezy again and again. I would trade my ex to meet Chris Brown 100 times over. So definitely, really, really worth it. Uh, so I think I can play this here. There's actually an impromptu interview with this person explaining this situation.
Which meet and greet did you have? This was from
This is from Columbus.
Columbus.
Yep. Literally, after my picture went viral, my boyfriend broke up with me about a week later after arguing because he felt like Chris was too close on me. I'm just like, it's one of the most respectable pictures. It looked like I was bending over, grabbing my ankles. But I trade my ex for meeting Chris Brown 100 more times. So definitely, really, really worth it.
Wow.
All right. A lot of fans in the comments section were showing support for the woman in this instance, claiming the guy was just trying to find an out. He was cheating and wanted to find a reason to argue with, one user believes. If that's all it took, he was going to break up with you anyway, sis. Count your blessings. Another adds, while no one knows how unsteady their relationship was, it seems clear that them going their separate ways was the best solution. So, of course, the Peanut Gallery has plenty to say about this situation.
Of course.
What do you think? You think Buddy was right and justified in breaking up with her? What do you make of her saying she'd do it 100 times over, even if it meant that her and her ex breaks up? It's worth it.
I think he made the right decision at that point. Especially if she says she's willing to just throw him to the trash, so why wouldn't he be making the right decision at this point? I appreciate bro standing on business on this. Hey, listen, this is bot behavior, bro. This is thought behavior. I mean, I looked at this photo and I was like, I've seen Chris Brown do worse. But if this was my old lady and I'm seeing her, bagging it up like that, you know what I'm saying? Just looking vulnerable for it. I'm like, another man's doing this to you? And you gonna sit here and show me this? Like this is what's up. Oh, so you must think I'm a fool. And so, yeah, bro, she for the streets. And so, bro, recognized that, stood on business, and sent her on a merry way. And for as you mentioned, the peanut gallery, sitting there, with their comments. Hey, man, my blood started to boil. I had to remember. I had to remind myself who was actually making these comments. All right, and these are other women that would probably do the same thing. Just throw their whole relationship away just for a hug with Chris Brown. Um, this whole thing, man. Once you see, you know, like let's say if you're dealing with a woman and she's for the streets, you know, you don't know that yet. You know what I'm saying? You just getting to know her. She's giving you all the sob stories. You know what I'm saying? You're not really buying it, but you're just going with the flow. But you still don't have any evidence that she's for the streets. Um, you know, Push come to shove down the line, something's gonna show its hand that, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? She might be for everybody, bro. And this photo here, in my opinion, because once I saw how close they were, now mind you, this is just Chris Brown getting a check, bro. You know what I'm saying? He like, hey, I get to get paid and fill up on these females. It's a win-win for this dude. this guy's crushing it. So he don't care, but he getting up in there, and she's like, yeah, she wants all of it. And if this is my old lady smiling that hard, this is a smile beyond a smile. So I'm like, nah, this shows me that, given the opportunity, you know what I'm saying? She'll let old boy do that. And if she'll let Chris Brown do that, she might let anybody else she has a crush on do that. It's just not clean, bro. And last thing I'll say is that there's a lot of women that have their celebrity crushes. Then they wouldn't do stuff like this. They'll admire from afar. They know it's not realistic. They know that they're in a situation. They wouldn't put it in jeopardy. But then there's some women that'll risk it all. And this is clearly that's a woman that's willing to risk it all for this. So she might risk it all at work. So man, let her go back outside, man. That's where she wanted to be at. And I agree. And she confirmed his rejection by saying that she would have dropped him anyway just to keep on meeting him. So what are your thoughts, sir, on homegirl here losing her whole relationship just for a picture with Chris Brown? Was it all worth it?
It was when she said, let me read that one more time here so that I can get the quote right. It was when she said, I would trade my ex to meet Chris Brown 100 times over. So definitely, really, really worth it. It was when she said that. That was the part that kind of threw me off. So here's my thing with this. Me personally, I'm gonna be consistent. When we talked about Keke Palmer and that whole situation with Usher, I was saying that if I'm very confident and secure in my belief that I'm holding this down, I'm not going to be threatened by Usher. That's just my personal take on this. Now, again, certain things are understood. Like, I'm not talking about I just met you and we've been dating for a few months. We got to be solid going on a decent period of time, 1-2 years plus. If we've been together 1-2 years plus, we've established that foundation, and I know I'm holding it down, I'm not threatened by you going to an Usher residency show. Go ahead. If he wants to pull you up on stage and make you a part of his act, whatever. Go ahead and do it. I'm not threatened by Usher. We've been in this 1-2 years strong. I know I'm holding it down. I'm not tripping off that. I know you coming back here. But my thing is, my woman, who I'm not threatened by Usher going to a show over, is not going to feel as though she would trade me 100 times over for an Usher meet and greet. So the fact that she said that tells me, or rather, it informs me on her mindset. I'll read it again, right? She said, I would trade my ex to meet Chris Brown 100 times over. So definitely, really, really worth it. if she's of the mindset that she would trade her ex to meet Chris Brown 100 times over, and this is where I'm going to come at bro and say this is your fault, bro.
Damn.
In my opinion, a woman who says things like that is a woman who lives by that code. And if she lives by that code, she has exhibited those characteristics on multiple occasions. This is not the first time that you've encountered this. She lives by this mantra. She'll trade you for a meet and greet with any of her favorite hip hop stars, rappers, athletes, whomever. She's one of these chicks, as you like to say, for the streets. You like to use that phrase. That's fine. So my thing is, people show their true colors at some point, and it doesn't take long. Like, the truth always reveals itself. I don't know how long they've been talking, but if they were talking for any modicum of time, 6 months, 9 months, a year, you've been seeing these tendencies pop up in certain capacities throughout the time that you've been with her. You already knew she was kind of about that life. You knew she had that in her. She feels like she'll trade you for a chance to meet him 100 times over, and it was worth it. So you already knew that she had those tendencies, and you dated her anyway. You got with her anyway. So my thing is, bro, where's your judgment? Like, I get it. If you just met her and you've been hollering at her and y'all been doing your thing, dating casually, getting to know each other for a few months, I'm willing to give you a pass. And see, that's my thing. There are certain additional pieces of information that I would need in order to best inform myself on how I feel about this. She says that there was an ex. Ex tells me that they were together, which tells me that they were together for an extended period of time. Because if you're just casually dating somebody, you're not going to break up with them and qualify them as your ex if it was just a casual short term thing. I'm applying logic to this situation. So if it was a short term thing and you didn't really know her all that well and you were just kind of feeling this thing out, maybe you didn't get the sense that she was about this life. Okay, fine, bro. I'm willing to give you a pass on that. But if we're dealing with an extended period of time, for her to give that kind of a quote saying that she would trade you for the chance to meet Chris Brown and that it was 100% worth it, if it was an extended period of time, some of this stuff came up in some kind of way at some point in the past, and you chose to ignore it because you still wanted to get with her anyway. At that point, that's on you. So for you to reach your breaking point at this point and decide to break up with her, the only reason why you did that is because you feel publicly embarrassed because the photo went viral. That's how I feel. If the photo didn't go viral and you don't look like a simp type dude, because you are sort of the cuck in this situation because this photo went viral, I feel like you still would be with her. But you decided to put your foot down because the photo went viral. So I kind of levy this responsibility at his feet. Just like I always do, I try to be consistent with these things. I primarily make men responsible because men are the gatekeepers when it comes to relationships. Women may be the gatekeepers when it comes to sex, but men are the gatekeepers when it comes to relationships and marriages. And so for you to have been in a situation in which you are in a relationship with this chick, despite what I feel are clear and obvious signs that she had these sorts of tendencies, to me, that's on you, bro. No woman who is willing to trade their ex to meet their favorite hip hop star 100 times over is going to exhibit those qualities, make it so abundantly clear that at any point you can be traded. If you're dealing with the chick who will trade you at any given point, then the egg is on your face for getting with her in the first place. Get with the woman who's not going to make you feel as though you can be traded if given the opportunity to meet her favorite hip hop star. So even though I'm with you and I'm hollering scandalous, scandalous, I'm also looking at bro and I'm saying, huh, bro, this is kind of your fault.
Yeah, and here's my thing with that, and I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? Because at some point, and as you mentioned, it's a timeline. So if it was early in the thing, because people call anything a relationship nowadays. Situationships, people call them relationships at this point. Then you'll see how often did y'all text? How often did y'all meet? How often did y'all? This wasn't a relationship.
Right.
So I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. So it could be one of those, and whatever. Or it could have been something, as you mentioned, long term. Now, if it's something long term, still, man, at some point, now I agree. People going to tip their hands and show you who they are. But at the same time, it's the once people show you who they are and it's not that bad, you can deal with it. So people choose to deal with it. But what happens is, there tends to be variations of this thing that can get more extreme. And so, yes, there were signs, red flags, I'm sure, that showed that she about that street life, or that she can group you out, take your pick. So there's probably signs of that, but hey, man, you know what I'm saying? She giving it up every week. So, I'm gonna keep sliding over here. It's not a big deal. But then, it's a thing where it's like, hey, man, my face attached to, it's so many ways that this can play out to where at the end of the day, I give bro credit for not still simping after this.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I'll give him credit because at some point, the judgment curve for some people have more grace than other people. And who knows the statistics on long-term situations, for people that's been married for 20, 30 plus years, how much grace gets extended in those situations. But at the same time, when you're dealing with modern people right now who look at grace as weakness, look to exploit you. Yeah, at some point when these people do hit some type of threshold, you do have to go at some point that, this is a variation that I don't care about, but if you have an extreme to this could be a problem. And so that's why somebody's like, hey, man, this guy broke up with a girl for something like this. Hey, man, this is a variation of how extreme it can get. And that was my whole point of, giving the opportunity of her meeting for somebody she fans out over. And it don't have to be a celebrity. It could just be the mysterious dude at her job that works second shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, dog. And this mentality just personifies itself in the Chris Brown picture, but she probably crushes on people a lot. This is probably a behavioral trait. She probably crushed on you in the first place. That's probably how y'all got together.
Probably so.
Yeah, so you got to monitor all of these things, man. And so who knows what this situation is, but from the sounds of it, from her not having any remorse or any regret for this, again, I agree with bro, and I appreciate him for standing on bending, man. And but yeah, I do take your point loud and clear that discernment has to be better in this process out here, so you don't get caught by blindsided by certain things. This may not be too extreme, but would I have broken up over an image like this? I would have put her in her place. How about that? So she just would have went in the for streets category. And if she didn't care for that the behavioral treatment, then she can just kick rocks. But yeah, but you know what I'm saying? There's a roster spot for her. She just got to go in the street column. So who knows, man? But best of luck to her and oh boy, man, holding it down. POP, hold it down.
She said it's her ex, so that sounds like they were together.
Amen.
So my thing is, if y'all were together, that's what I'm saying. Like I pay attention. Words to me mean something, so I pay attention to the words. Like the way that this whole thing looks, it looks as though these were two people who were together, and then he broke up with her because of how the photo looks. And so my thing is, she didn't say my boyfriend broke up with me and I'm upset about it and I'm not happy that that happened just because I wanted to meet Chris Brown. She said I would trade my ex 100 times over, and
Yeah.
because it was worth it.
Yeah.
So that there's no mistaking how she feels in the aftermath of how he feels. She
Right.
don't give a damn.
Right.
So my thing is her not giving a damn. There were to me, in my opinion, because I've dealt with people show you who they are, man, and it doesn't take long for her to say that so strongly. To me, there are clear behavioral signs that she has a tendency to do things that are going to make you feel uncomfortable and less secure about the situation. And she's probably been doing it more. She's probably done such a thing more than once.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And so, because she's done such a thing more than once, I don't care how subtle it was or how much you were willing to overlook it. If she was your woman and you were dealing with this over an extended period of time, then essentially you were the person giving their dog a T-bone steak and then getting upset when you try to give the dog regular dog food and the dog pisses on the T-bone on the regular dog food because it's gotten used to the T-bone steak. Like, you've been feeding this situation T-bone steak for a long time. Now you want to dial it back and say, here's this dog food. No, it's not going to work that way. You established this tone. So you're going to have to pay the price for that. So I personally, in my opinion, based on how she said that, if she seemed a little more remorseful or seemed to be a little more contrite over how it played out, I'd be more willing to give the guy grace. But because she was just flat out like, I'd do this again. I don't give a damn how, I don't care how you feel. You my ex, I'll do it 100 times more to meet Chris Brown. It was so worth it. I'll trade you. She used the word trade. I'll trade you. I'll trade my ex to meet Chris Brown again. It was so worth it. That tells me she been about this, and she showed you she been about this. So if you stayed in that, bro, your fault. Guys need to be more accountable and responsible for the general direction that their romantic lives take themselves. Because more often than not, it is the decisions of these men that create these situations, not the other way around. Women acquiesce to the vibe and the tone and the tenor that men give forth. That's just the natural way that things work out with humans. It is what it is. I'm not trying to be misogynistic or chauvinistic. It is just the truth. Women acquiesce to the vibe that men put out, not the other way around. So if you are allowing these things to persist, she's going to continue to push the envelope. And if you feel as though you were wrong by this situation, you need to exercise better judgment and understand that you have the power to get with the kind of chick who's not going to make you feel some type of way about about trading you in to be in a meet and greet with her favorite hip hop person or R&B star or whomever it is, because those individuals always show you who they are. You just have to believe it and stop ignoring it.
Yeah, man. And last thing I'll say is that there's so much nuance to this. They broke up 7 days later. There was probably conversations about it that grew into arguments. Who knows who's, it was probably a situation where bro could have, just stood up for himself and she took offense to that. He probably trying to set boundaries and she took offense to that. And she probably threw some stuff out there like, I'll go see him 100 more times. I mean, I'll trade you 100 times just see him once. She probably said something like that then, which is like, hey, this is enough. So who knows what could have really went down in the when they broke up or what made them break up, because who knows. But all I know is bro dodged bullet with this whole situation here. And because it's just not clean, man. It's not clean overall. And ladies, just be honest, man, because there's this thing that's going on, and I try to have an honest conversation with women, but they just tend to lie to me. But hey, man, yeah, there's some women are out here. Not everybody's getting diddled out here, all right, in Diddy party. There's women out here giving it up to guys that are well known all the time. Now, there tend to be certain particular type of woman. But for the most part, man, whenever I ask a female friend or something like, hey, man, would you know what I'm saying, who's your, celebrity, whatever person, and they'll say they don't have none or whatever. Like, yeah, stop the cap. So then once I see somebody that they actually be looking at, I'm like, all right, what about this person here? You know what I'm saying? Would you know what I'm saying? If you met bro, would it go down like that first quarter? Oh, no. Oh, so you gonna make bro go on a date with you. you think that's what you're gonna do? You think just take my number or take my Instagram like a regular dude? I don't think so, man. I think there's gonna be a lot of women who just jump at the opportunity at that, like these guys often get. So somebody's out here smashing these girls like this. So whenever there's a situation out there and your woman is a woman who's clearly fanning over a dude like that, to me it's uncomfortable. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? You could be fans of people, but there's a certain way that you could be fans of people. And I think this girl's really a groupie for him like that. And so who knows? But best of luck to all of them people. Hey man, this is 2024, man. What are you gonna do?
We don't give men enough credit. These dudes be knowing what they know. It's like, bro, you know the kind of woman, you can tell. Like it's not as much. We just finished talking about Cardi B and her comments about TikTokers and soft generations and all that. Even the softest of the softest guy can pick up on what a woman is putting down in terms of what she has a tendency to do. It's up to you to decide whether to ignore it or not. Like, if you choose to ignore it because you like, maybe she looks so good you can't pass it up or whatever it is, then at that point, that's on you. My whole thing, my general premise with this is anyone who says that they'll trade their ex to meet their favorite famous person 100 times over because it was worth it, they probably exhibited qualities or characteristics much earlier on that made you wonder whether that was something that was a possibility with them. When you see it, don't sweep it under the rug and make it seem like it's a one-off. No, that's a part of who these people are. And it ain't hard to tell. Women, men, whomever, people who are not on that stuff, they're not going to give you the vibe that they could potentially be on it. It's simple. It's not that complicated. They're not going to give you the vibe that they could potentially be on it. They just won't. Thus, you won't be questioning whether they're on it or not. They're not going to get on. They're not going to give you that impression. Like these are women who wouldn't pay for the meet and greet because they don't care about it like that. They don't need to do it that much. So they'll pay to they'll go to a show because maybe they're a fan, but they ain't gonna pay $1,000 to do a meet and greet. It ain't that serious. They gonna go to the show and then leave and go home. So my thing is understand these various characteristics and don't just ignore them because you think it's no big deal. Because if you continue to think it's no big deal, now you're gonna look kind of silly because your girl went viral with a picture next to Chris Brown and you're super uncomfortable. So I think sometimes we don't give guys enough credit for perceptibility. Y'all be knowing y'all be knowing some of the tendencies of these chicks, and you want to date them anyway mostly because it's because of how good they look. It's usually a physical thing. Let's be honest. It's usually a looks thing. But it's like, hey man, you see these tendencies, and we all do it. We're all human. I'm not trying to say that we're above this. It's just calling a spade a spade. Like, bro did that. You knew, maybe not you knew, but depending on that's what I'm saying. Also, there's more context with this. There's more information. Like, how long were they together really? Because, like you said, people are calling anything a relationship these days. But if it was anything long term, a year plus, whatever, and she's talking like that, saying she will trade him to meet him over and over again because it was worth it, you knew what her tendencies were at some point along the way, and you just kept signing up for it. And so I have to hold you responsible for that as a man. That's just my opinion.
Well said.
Oh boy, meet and greets, residencies, Usher and Chris Brown out here
Hey man, how'd you
killing
chick?
the,
How'd you
killing the
chick?
game.
Yeah, man. I ain't playing with these dudes. How'd you chick, bro?
Oh God.